Okay, today's episode is going to be a fun one. Welcome to Gold Stars and Doom Piles, the podcast for high functioning women. I'm Coach Jen. And the podcast today I want to talk about that was a literal conversation that I had today with one of my clients who was like, "Oh my God, this should be a reel." And I was like, absolutely, you'll see some reels and videos going out about it, but I also want to make it into a podcast because I think it's like a really cool concept that, again, it's like risky to put out there, but maybe it's not risky. I don't know. Maybe my gremlins are speaking really loudly today. I'm a little bit tired, to be honest. But the concept here is so we, as you know all too well, preaching to the choir, my high functioning ADHD woman, you know that we often can get a lot of work done in a very short amount of time. Yet, a lot of my clients, a lot of you listening, are out there working jobs that have certain hour requirements. Unfortunately, society has not caught up to the hey, just get your work done. Sometimes we're really lucky and they say that, but they don't always practice it. Or if you work somewhere where they say that, that's incredible if they also do practice it. So for me, obviously, I've had my own business for a while now, but I was gainfully employed at points in my life, and I always struggled with that. And it wasn't that like I struggled necessarily with a 9 to 5. It was I struggled with that structure and then using that 9 to 5 to do other things when I knew I was getting my job done. So when I was talking to this client, she is a mom, she is married, she has a busy job and a lot of life that she is balancing. And so we were talking about all these things she needed to do, right? And the little stuff, right, that we just spin cycle on that takes so much of our bandwidth. That's the mental load, right? The like, when am I going to go to the bank? I need to get the oil change. I need to get my dentist appointment scheduled, all these things. And those often can't exist outside of work hours. Sometimes you can't find the place isn't open or you can't call them during non-work hours. As well as obviously parenting. If you're parenting someone, we are held to certain daycare or camp or school hours. And that can be really struggling, really a lot of a struggle. Oh my goodness, guys, there's my perimenopause brain. And so acknowledging some of these things, right? And at the end of the day, we just don't have the experience, the time, right? Again, the podcast that I did about high functioning, that really explains it, like the burnout that is high functioning, how toxic high functioning actually is. And that's why I work on that with women is to get them out of that quote unquote high functioning and into functioning, but also honoring their neurodiverse brain and honoring their ADHD, right? Finding ways to not have to be high functioning, which always comes at a cost, right? Um, so with that, the thing I told her, so she's like, I feel guilty for using my work hours to do things like that, the life things, right? Even though she's getting her work done just fine, her bosses never complain. They've always been very like, very receptive to how she works. But there's this expectation, right, that she's in the office at certain times, or she's online at certain times, right? Many of you may have this. So the thing, and don't tell your boss this, turn this off if you're listening to it at work or anywhere with supervision. So the thing I told her, I was like, hey, when I used to have a full-time job, what I would do is I would have what I called fuck the patriarchy hours or fuck capitalism hours or damn the man hours, whatever you want to label them. And that for me was the hours that I would give myself permission to do the things, the life things during the workday. Oftentimes, and again, I want you getting your work done. I want you doing your job well, doing it functionally. But as I started with the episode with us, we often get that done really quickly, or we need some sort of pressure, and that pressure hasn't been applied yet. So we're kind of waiting for that pressure, and we have this time where we could be using it to do these life things, but we guilt ourselves for being like on company time. Or so maybe you don't, if you guilt yourself for being on company time, this is helpful as well. But maybe you don't guilt yourself, but you're like sneaking it in like the cracks of your day. And that's not functional either, because again, context switching transitions, that is very challenging for ADHD brains. So the concept that I introduced to her was something that I used to do, which was I would look ahead and you can do this a week ahead. You can do this every single week, same time, same day. You can do this the day of, whatever works for you in your brain. But it's looking at specific hours. So maybe it's like 1 to 2 p.m. every Thursday. You give yourself permission to do the life shit and you schedule it. And you say, this is the time that, yes, I'm punching the company clock. And yes, I'm going to put the guilt aside because I'm still getting my job done. And I'm going to put those things into that space. You might need more, maybe 3 pockets a day. Maybe, Friday afternoons, that's when you do it. Whatever, your work schedule, you kind of know the bandwidth that you need to borrow. And the two keys for this are planning it out ahead of time, again, because we're getting out of the context switching, the shove it into the cracks, the transition thing. We're trying to get out of that. So you have a dedicated time. that helps you in a couple of ways. One way is that you don't have to then worry about I mean, you might still worry, but you don't have to be like, okay, when am I going to call the doctor? I don't know. No, no, on Tuesday, from 2 to 4 p.m., I have my fuck the patriarchy hours, and that's when I do all my things. And so that's where that's going to go. So I put it on my note, in my note or on my calendar or whatever, and that's where that's going to go. So you can stop spinning about it, right? And then as new things come your way that you have to do these life things, you start putting it on that list to be happening during your fuck the patriarchy hours. So that helps you kind of shut down the brain a little bit. So you're not always worried about like, when am I going to do it? Oh, I think I can squeeze it in here. All of that. And then the key is to try to let go of the guilt. I know that's easier said than done, but if you're doing this strategically and it honestly is more. So let's say we're like trying to be like as fair as possible to our supervisors, to corporate, to whoever you're punching the clock for. It is more fair to them for you to have these like buried down, like 2 hours a week, whatever, again, whatever. I'm not going to define the time for you. 30 minutes a day, 2 hours a week, 1 hour a day. I don't know. But it's better for them in the end, too, for you to do that versus context switching and then doing poor work or feeling stressed or feeling like you have to go back and forth between things. So having that kind of like scheduled fuck the patriarchy hours really may be beneficial for everybody, for you especially. That's all I care about is honestly you. Because fuck patriarchy. But this is the concept that is new. I've done it, but I've also never really talked to a client about it, and it kind of just came out organically. I'm like, oh my God, I totally forgot that I did this, and maybe this will help you as well. So fuck the patriarchy hours, or fuck capitalism hours, or damn the man hours, whatever you want to call it. I look forward to hearing how you name it. I'm sure you have some creative names. Find me on social media, Coach Jen T. Johnson on TikTok and Instagram, and drop a comment and let me know, like, hey, Jen, I tried this concept. And I'm going to put some reels out about it too, so you might see some content out on my social media about it. But yeah, what a fun concept, right? Let's go play with it. Let's like really like give ourselves permission to find dedicated time each day, each week, each month, whatever it is. You're punching the company clock, but you're saying, I'm using these dedicated hours to get my life shit done so I can get that done, have some extra battery, still get my work done, and ideally be doing it guilt free. There are probably problems with this that you're going to think about that you're like, Jen, or you're like, oh, but what about? Totally fine. Again, everything I put out here is not generic. It's from life experience, from coaching experience, but I know it's not going to hit every single base, and that's totally fair. So maybe this doesn't work for you, and you're like, but Jen. Or maybe you're like, this is amazing. Let me know that. Or maybe you're like, hey, this is problematic because of this. Totally amazing. I would love to hear that too. So that's what I got for you. And I hope to see you on the next episode.